Good morning, Metaverse. I'm Thor with the Red Hand, and it's been another long stint since my last video, but life is busy and you got to prioritize. But I've been in the background, engaged with Star Atlas as well as a few other projects, and grinding out and escape velocity, etc. So I'm going to be talking actually about the Atlas Brew 67, which I think was a phenomenal Atlas Brew. Santi and Dom are doing a fantastic job of putting together really good content and having the economics team there to really articulate and give some insight on the results that they've been seeing from the escape velocity, the movement tests, from the interaction from the community, and some nitty gritties that I'm going to get into. I think it was worthy of taking some time and putting together an episode. So hopefully this episode helps and gives you a good idea of what has been going on the economic side of things with Star Atlas. Now, the conversation in that Atlas Brew, the real good content that I wanted to focus on was around the transition from the unlimited supply of R4 resources into a completely player-driven economy. And that was a huge moment in Star Atlas, in my opinion. I don't think people will really see the result of that or the impact of that for a little bit of time yet. But um, switching to that real economy is a complete game changer in my opinion. So I was really excited when it happened, and then there was a lot of engagement and conversation about how they decided to do that, where they put 30 days of supply on the market, and so you could buy that. Anybody could, and the thing was, it happened very quickly. And as they were talking, I believe Eric and Chris, they were talking a little bit faster than what the team had expected the 30-day supply to be gobbled up. I'm not surprised by it at all. I think they actually did it in a very an effective way. I don't know if it's the best way possible, but I think it was a very good way to do it. Very quick and clean. I was unable to participate in buying any of those resources. I heard. I was listening to Metaverse Explorer, and he had said it had been going on for 4 hours, and I hadn't watched his episode for another 10 hours, so I was way late in the day, and I was driving when I was listening to that. Not watching, just listening. And I knew by the time I got back home, the supply probably would already be gone, and it was. So I'm not upset about it, even though I wasn't able to engage in it and benefit from grabbing some of those resources at the lower price compared to where it is now, because it doubled for a lot of the prices of the R4. So the questions were, and the discussion was around, well, how did you decide to do it, and what kind of information were you going off of to say, okay, this is a good way to do it, and it's going to be a good thing for the community and for the gaming environment. The next part that I wanted to talk about is the engineering results that they have been getting from the play test, from the movement test, etc. When they do these surge events and they get a big group of people, and we go in and we break things. And if you were involved in Escape Velocity Day 1, there were a lot of things that we were breaking, and they've learned a lot from that. And so to make the release of the next version and the version after that and the version after that go smoother and smoother, essentially the report part was that they learned a lot, and they have improved that process significantly. So I'm actually very excited now for when they advance escape velocity into the mining and crafting aspect and bring that part of the game online, and see how quickly they're able to bring that up to speed and make it a smooth process. Because now escape velocity, as simple as it is now a very smooth process. We've learned a couple tricks, kind of like this auto signing versus using your hardware wallet for every transaction. All these resources that I'm earning now will go into that burner wallet, and then I will transfer it out. And I have like a total of a $1.50 on that wallet. So I don't have to risk a whole lot, and I can still tie it into my secured wallet and my secure assets, and be able to operate it that way. Things that we, the community, have learned is big. And another interesting fact that they talked about was the use of the different events. So they weren't just going to take, average use on an average day, um, and extrapolate that out to be the multiplier that they use to increase the loot rewards, in order to now produce enough to sustain the active players. They also did the event studies, which, if you remember, there was the escape velocity events, surge events, where they increased the amount of resources and to see how many more people participate. And here is probably, out of the entire episode, the most reassuring statistic that they talked about, and that was the change during those surge events when they did something, just like when they transitioned into this player-owned economy and increased the resources. When events happen, employment went up 50%, which is solid. Employment meaning the amount of people that are logged in and active, right? How many people are now active players that might have been dormant for a while? They are employed in Star Atlas, and then the intensity went up 100%. So the amount of activity that people were engaging in increased by 100%. And that's great. Their regular daily active users on Escape Velocity was 350 to 400. So that's more like 700 to 800 daily active users logging in and engaging in that part of the game. And you can see this is not like an amazing gameplay super fun. This is just a movement test, and you're still getting pretty solid numbers for daily active users. When they do an event and give incentive, people respond to that in a big way. And I think that is a great indicator of the dedication of the people who are involved in the project, and projects that have dedicated communities, their longevity is often a much better as well. And I'm, for one, very glad that they did make the leap and brought that real economy online. I've been wanting it for a very long time, but it is important that the timing is right. And it was also reassuring to hear Chris, I believe, was the one talking about this, and he's already working on how to maintain the R4. Also, Chris made his own overall assessment, and he said that it went very well. And quote, "I really don't think like anything could have gone much better." So that sounds pretty good, and he seems like a pretty straight shooting guy in regards to his craft, which is economics. So on that standpoint, the economics of the game is looking like it's going in the right direction. And then lastly on the conversation, this sort of evolved into a conversation about claim stakes and their importance going into the future. And every time that the someone from the Star Atlas team has talked about claim stakes. They say that it's important. These are important pieces to this game, and that's really not being realized by a large number of people, and that's understandable because when we first got our claim states, they really didn't do anything. They did literally nothing when we first got access to them, and then now that the unlimited supply is gone. Uh, Now the scarcity comes in. You start realizing, okay, there's claim stakes are one of two places that I get resources. One, I'm playing right now, escape velocity, I'm getting resources. Um, a couple thousand at a time, where claim stakes are a passive version of farming resources. And so when you think about that, this is an active way to gain it. Escape velocity and claim stakes are passive, and they're one of two places to get these resources. That starts really indicating how important a claim stake is. One of two types of assets. And it's understandable if people had a hard time thinking of claim stakes as being this really valuable piece of the game, because when we first got them, they literally did nothing. They weren't part of the game, and working them into score, even though that's not their original plan, I think that was useful or helpful because now they are at least claiming some resources, but they weren't claiming very much back when we had an unlimited supply and we had other options. Now that that unlimited supply is gone, uh, the scarcity of those resources is being realized, and the importance of one of two different ways to get the resources is claim stakes. The other way is escape velocity, which is the active acquisition of resources, whereas claim stakes allow you to do that on a more passive. You check in once every 2 or 4 days, depending and longer if you have larger tiers. I have tier one and tier two claim stakes, and so it's every couple days I check in and claim my rewards, and that passive acquisition is nice. It's not as grinding as doing this active play to get those resources, and claim stakes are very important. I actually went up and picked up another few claim stakes for myself after this happened, because I was listening to what they're saying. They are important. And Chris had even mentioned that there was one type of claim stake that was a really great deal right now. He didn't say which one it was, so I went on and looked around, and I found a decent deal out there, and I'm happy with that. So maybe I got it, maybe I didn't, but um, you know, listening to what they're saying and realizing that they're trying to guide the community to do wise choices as far as the development of the game as best possible without just going out and telling people what to do. And so that was pretty cool, having some little tidbits and nuggets drop there, and realizing that claim stakes really are important. Now for R4, that's what they are right now, and in the future when we start to get into like the R20 and crafting and bring in other resources, um, Chris was saying that the claim stakes are going to be eventually more resource extraction, and then the R4s are going to be created from more basic resources. So the claim stakes get the raw resources, and then we craft those R4 together. So there is going to be another big shift there, an iterative change that we need to be looking forward to, and think what would be a smart action to take, um, if that's going to be the case. And so we can theory craft and have ideas about that. If you have any thoughts, leave them in the comment section below. And if you have any questions further on claim stakes, you're not really sure what they are, I'll leave a link in the description, and there is a video that I did where I read through the entire Sage game manual, and you can listen to my melodious voice as I go through what claim stakes are and how they're being planned to work in the game in the various versions that are going to be released. So check that out if you need to. And it's just sort of as a last note, the biggest challenge that the team is going to have is with the complete frame shifts that they need to make to go from one change to another, to go from an unlimited supply to a player driven economy. That's a big frame shift. And to go from having score to not having score, that's going to be another big frame shift. And there's always pushback of people that want to keep it the way it was. They worked out a way that they're comfortable or effective at it. But the way it is right now, this game right here that I'm moving around, this is not the game that it's ultimately going to be. Um, it is going to change from here. This is the caterpillar that goes into the cocoon and comes out a butterfly. There is going to be some major frame shifts, and the community's engagement and interaction with that is going to be a huge part to the success of the project as we go into the future. So I'm excited on so many levels, and I'm reassured um, to the stability of the project from the Atlas Brew 67. I was cautious, and I know we're still have a lot of questions out there. We still need to be very vigilant and make sure that the choices being made are going in the right direction. But on the economics front, and from the results that they've been getting from all of these surge events and escape velocity, never alone, the new 2.1 release, these are all going in the right direction. And I am very happy about that. Actually, I don't have any criticisms about what they've done in the last several months. So great job, and thanks for watching. Don't worry about liking or subscribing, but hopefully this was helpful. And if it is, you find it helpful to somebody else, please share it with them. If you could do that, then today was a good day. Good morning, Metaverse.